بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر ولله عاقبة الأمور. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين عضوا عليها بالنواجذ وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور فإن كل بدعة ضلالة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers, elders, mothers and sisters, it is a natural phenomena and a human instinct to sympathize and empathize with the victim of any tragedy, be the victim a friend or a foe, whether he belongs to a common religion or any other denomination. As humans, Allah has created us, and it is this very element of concern that elevates us over the animal kingdom. In the wild, you won't find this element of care and concern as is found among the human race, that whenever there is a catastrophe, whenever there is a tragedy, then there is an awareness campaign, there is a collection drive, there is a mutual support structure that is put in place to assist the victims. And this is great. This is brilliant, this is meritorious, this is awesome. However, as caring as the human is, his approach is very different when the nature of the problem is self-inflicted. So this very caring human would lend his hand of assistance, will dig deep into his pockets and give out money in big numbers. But if he is told that the victim is suffering because of the result of his own doings, then this human becomes very wary, very apprehensive, very two-minded. Now let me give it thought. By way of example, you come home and the phone rings and someone tells you, did you hear this brother? He has been admitted into the clinic and he is seriously in a bad condition and he's been hospitalized. And you say, oh my word, I'm really sad to hear this. May Allah give him shifa. And then as the discussion progresses, you ask the brother, what's the reason? Why has he ended up in the hospital? He says he's got bad lung cancer. Then you say, yeah, but you know, he is this chain smoker at the same time. So, well, what can we do? If this is his habit, there's very little we can do to assist him from his problem. Or you meet someone and he says, you know what? This man's marriage has broken up and it has dissolved. And you're like shocked and surprised and disappointed. And what happened? But they were recently married. Apparently one partner has been cheating on the other partner. And they are guilty of infidelity. So then what happens? You say, maybe it's better the marriage broke. Maybe it's better the marriage broke. Why? Because he has brought about this condition upon himself. Sheikh Sadi rahmatullah alayhi used to say, I sympathize with the victim of every tragedy but a jealous person. A jealous man has decided to harm himself. If you harbor jealousy, you must live with misery. If you harbor jealousy, you must live with misery. These are the words of Sheikh Sadi rahmatullah alayhi. Meaning there's very little I can do. If we look around us today in the world on a micro level and a macro level, on a small scale and a large scale, by and large, the human race is inflicting himself with problems. And because of us inflicting ourselves with problems, gradually we are losing even sympathy for our crisis. So we are becoming loners in our problem. We are becoming isolated in our problems. Why? Because nobody wants to assist us. Nobody wants to extend an attentive ear to our pain and our agony. How often don't you see, and perhaps not in this part of the world, and may it never happen here, but back home it's a common occurrence where you find a youngster has taken to drugs, and he has taken to the rough life, and he comes from a very dignified family, and he comes from a family with great social standing, and the brothers are prominent and respected and you know, really prosperous individuals. And then you meet the brother and he says, you know, I'm so sorry to see your brother on the road, and I met him at the rehab. You know what, Sheikh, we've washed our hands off and we've moved on with life. You know, we've got our own families and there's so much we can do. If you want to help him, may Allah bless you. But as the family, we've decided to move on. There's very little we can do. And that has really become the problem that has gripped the world. That has become the crisis. Now today I want to single out one situation, and I tell you how I want to focus my talk. I want to speak about just one aspect in our life that we are guilty of, because of which we have brought misery on our life. We could open it up from multiple dimensions, but to highlight one particular aspect because of which our lives, our family structure, our social structure has really taken great strain, and that is misery in our life as a result of greed and desire. As a result of greed. And I will share with you a few examples to illustrate the theory. At the onset, I must say, life by its very nature is daunting and challenging. So I don't have the recipe for a hiccup-free life. If you ask me, you know what, give me the formula that I don't have any issues in my life, I don't have any problems in my life, that is against the very grain of human existence on the earth. So neither I can give it to you, nor anyone else can give it to you. In English they say, what cannot be cured must be endured. What cannot be cured must be endured. Problems never end, they only differ. Problems never end, they only differ. I was once holding my two sons, in fact 3 of them, one in this hand, one in that hand, and one on my back, and I'm walking. And they were much younger than what they are now, obviously. One was 2, one was 4, and one was perhaps just a year or whatever. So one scholar met me and he said, Sheikh, mashallah, I see your hands are full. I say, yeah, it's really full. He says, rather they pain your hands than grow up and pain your heart. The burden is lighter now. You're carrying them in your hands, that's painful, it's hands full. But I promise you that burden is lighter and this problem is easier as they grow up. Then it's not hurting your hands, it's hurting your heart. It's piercing your heart. It's a sword in your heart. So the problems that when my children were small were different. When they grow up will be different, and life will continue, but they will never cease to end. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Indeed, we've created man in challenges. That's the nature of human existence. He's riddled and gripped by multiple challenges. So, the point that I want to speak on is how greed has brought misery in our life. And I share with you in this regard anecdotes and extracts from the life of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu karramallahu wajha. So what I want to focus here is that there are certain challenges that Allah has put in our lap, and that is by His divine decree, and every one of us has to try and deal with it and get closer to our Creator. So we cannot remove that because that is divinely decreed by Allah, and that's the system of Allah. But to add salt to injury, to compound the crisis, to aggravate and exacerbate the nature of the problem, we bring in about more misery on ourselves. And we make in life more challenging. So let me share with you the first incident regarding Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. He was one day sitting outside with his son, and we are always reminded that we need to have quality time with our children in this fast moving world where everybody is gripped up and everybody is busy and everybody is occupied. We need to take our time and interact with our children and have some quality time. And we need to free that time and make it happen. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu is outside, with him is his son Sayyidina Hassan radiallahu anhu. Just then a beggar comes, and a beggar asks for something. Please, please, please give me something on the name of Allah. So Ali radiallahu anhu tells his son Hassan, go inside, idhab ila ummik wa qul laha, say to your mum that I had left 6 dirhams in the house. Hati minha dirhaman, please just give me 1 dirham. So obviously this is an amazing learning experience for the child, because the child is observing, he's watching, a beggar is coming, my dad is sending me to my mum. Obviously the subconscious mind is registering, and these things grow up, and often they have a profound impact in the later years of your life. How often don't we, I remember there was this elderly man, he was fond of me, may Allah fill his grave with noor, he was a great person, he was a wonderful man. So he always used to take me to a particular town to give a talk, that was where his parents were from. So I used to ask him for advice, because the old people, they had to hurt themselves to learn, and we can get the experience from them without having to go through that difficulty. So I said, give me some advice. He said, one day when I was young, my dad called me and he gave me some advice, and we were kids, we were listening and we were playing, and after a little while it was over and we went out to play. After a little while my dad called me back. He said, can you recall what I said? I said, oh no man, I forgot it completely. So my dad said to me, I think it entered your one ear and exited from the other ear. So we said, yeah, pretty much that's the case. My dad said, even that's not bad. A time will come, it won't even enter the first ear, never mind exit the next ear. A time will come, it won't even enter. It won't even enter the first ear, never mind exit the next ear. And really today we've seen that. So the young boy Hassan radiallahu anhu goes in the house, he tells his mother Fatima radiallahu anha that my dad has sent me to ask you for 1 dirham. Now bear in mind one thing here. When we say 6 dirhams, it wasn't like, there's $100 note here in the kitchen, and there's 500 in the closet, and there's 300 in the wallet, and there's 1,000 in the cupboard here. Leave that, the one that's there on the microwave, yeah, just give me that one here. No. There was only 6 dirhams in the house. That was about all in the entire house. So Fatima radiallahu anha was a woman amongst any other woman. She politely said, there's no food at home. I'm just wondering, ask my husband, ask your dad, can we leave this just to buy some food for you people, for the kids? So Hassan radiallahu anhu, an innocent child, he comes and he says, Dad, this is basically what my respected man, and remember that's Fatima radiallahu anha, this is what she had to say. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu became angry. And he said, لا يصدق إيمان عبد حتى يكون ما في يد الله أوثق مما في يده. Iman demands that your reliance on Allah is greater than that which is in your pocket. Now tell your mom, I don't want 1 dirham, I need all 6. Now tell your mom, I don't want 1, I need all 6. Right? Now a principle has to be established, a lesson has to be learned, and a message has to be given out, and a precedent has to be set. Again, look at the beautiful nature of their relation. In our case, this would blow up into an ugly altercation, and who you to tell me, and who you, and I'll call my brother, and I'll call my father, oh, and my word, okay, wait. Can we try and understand what's at the heart of this altercation? And it was a simple thing that just got ugly, just got blown out of proportion, and you know what, each person's ego with the next person's ego, and we're dealing with a major issue. This is unfortunately, how we deal with situations. Fatima radiallahu anha complied, and she gave the entire 6 dirhams. Hassan radiallahu anhu came and he gave it to his father. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu took the 6 dirhams and he gave it to the beggar. The beggar took it and he went, he doesn't know anything. Beggar got his money, he's happy from 1 to 6. You know what? He's happy, things are good for him. Takes his 6 dirhams and he goes. Now listen, it's not long, a person passes by, وَمَعَهُ جَمَلٌ, he has a camel with him. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu asked him, أَتَبِيعُ هَذَا الْجَمَلِ, are you selling this camel? He said, of course I'm selling it. How much are you selling it for? بِمِئَةٍ وَأَرْبَعِينَ دِرْهَمًا, 140 dirhams. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, can I do a deal with you? Can we strike a deal? Oh, perfect. اعقله على أن نؤخرك بثمنه. You want to tie the camel here? I don't have a dime in my pocket, As soon as I get money, I will pay you. Perfect, perfect. The narrator says, I'm amazed. Look at this man. He didn't have to fly to China to do a deal. He's sitting outside his house, and how Allah is making everything happen for him in a matter of minutes. He has had quality time with his son. He has then given charity in the path of Allah. He's impressed upon his wife the importance of being charitable. And it's not long, and Allah sends a person here. He strikes a deal. The camel is tied. The amount is finalized. The buyer leaves, the seller leaves, and he goes. And then the narrator of the hadith goes on to say, I am even more impressed that this man barely left and another person passes by. And he asked Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, whose camel is this? So he said, it's my camel. Are you selling the camel? He said, of course I'm selling it. How much are you selling it for? He said, I'm selling it for 200 dirhams. He said, okay, قَدْ ابْتَعْتُهُ, I have bought it. In less than 10 minutes in present day time, this whole three things are happening. This is now barakat in time. So anyway, he says, here's the 200 dirhams. And he takes the camel. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu goes and pays the man. He's still walking by and says, hey, brother, here's your 140 dirhams. May Allah reward you. May Allah reward you. He takes the 60 dirhams, comes and gives it to his wife. He goes in the house and he says, here my beloved wife, here my precious wife, here's 60 dirhams for you. So she's like, what's this all about? Said, your father, my Nabi, has taught us, من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها, that whenever you do a good act, not only will the reward be multiplied in 10, even the monetary return will be multiplied in 10. Subhanallah. Amazing. Awesome. Brilliant. Now hindsight. Let's introspect. Why don't I enjoy this type of barakah? Let's do some soul searching. So here I gave you a perfect example. Number one, I will identify our flaws, and I will show you how we have brought misery to our life. Number one, if I own 6 dirhams and that's all what I own, I will never have the courage to give that in charity. If that's all, I own 600,000 and I'm still counting the 6. I don't own it, I'm just saying. No, you start thinking I've got a bank balance here or something. I own and we own in the millions, and we're still counting that 6 that we're giving. You know, I gave so much. That's my first setback. Number 2, if a person came to me and he sold me his camel, said 140 dirhams, I said fine, perfect, tie the camel, I will pay you. Then the next person comes to me and he says, are you selling the camel? I'm putting myself in his shoes. Are you selling the camel? He said, yes. How much are you selling it for, brother? I said, 200. He said, okay, I have taken it. As soon as he happily agrees, I say, oh man, I should have said 250. Oh man, oh gosh. Oh, brother, you know, my that has brought misery to my life. That's why I'm full of stress. That's why I'm full of depression. Oh man, this guy, he was like game. He was easy going. I said 200. He said it's a deal. It's a steal. I'm happy. Now I said, no, you know, my wife reminded me that somebody has a bid for 300. And actually, I'm just reminded that this is of a superior nature. And you know what, it's very rare in the, this is where the human race has brought misery upon itself. This is where we're knocking our own feet. That's the first point, but it doesn't end there. This is my own humble analogy. Even if I say hypothetically, I agree that he said 200 and I said it's a deal at 200. It doesn't end there. When this man buys the camel from me for 200 and he gives me the 200 dirhams, I don't go and pay the seller 140. I take 200 dirhams and we're going to Kuala Lumpur for holiday with my family. Make dua, inshallah. I promised my family a holiday. And he can sing a song. But let me tell you, he's not singing a song. His heart is making a curse. And that curse will bring misery to me in my holiday wherever I am. So my vacation will not cement my marriage, will not bring joy to my life, because I have taken his due from him, and he has a leg to stand on, and he has teeth to bite, and he has a right to fight. So I'm gone. So that is why you and I don't have this barakah. This greed has paralyzed us. It has crippled us. It has destroyed us. Sayyidina Ali happy, 200, alhamdulillah. Go my brother, go pay him his 140. And yeah, before the sun could set, Fatima had given 6 in the morning. And before the sun could set, Allah had given her 60. Satisfied. Now I'm about to come back from China. And I don't mean I'm talking general. And all is on track. And just the day I'm about to board the flight, Ching Chong dangles a candy before me. And say, hey, Mr. Hussein, Mr. Muhammad, you know what? We've got another venture here. Okay? Now I'm busy on the one phone with my travel agent. Phoning home, tell the driver, please, he needs to take the children another 2 more days to school. Tell Brother Yusuf to just hang on in the shop. Tell the wife, just sorry man, if this thing comes right, inshallah we can do Umrah in business class. And end of the year, inshallah, New York. Right? Just now I want to upset this whole apple cart. Why? Greed. So now I'm busy on this phone, I'm checking my emails, I have to do adjustments at home. Hello, how much am I going to eat? How much am I going to take? To what extent? How long will I keep on going on like this? I need to do this, I need to have this, I need to go higher, I need to go higher. Where's the limit? What's the roof? What's the cutoff point? Next incident. 2 people sit down. Look at the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. 2 people sit down on the side of a road. جَلَسَ رَجُلَانِ يَتَغَدَّيَانِ. They are sitting and they're eating. مَعَ أَحَدِهِمَا خَمْسَةُ أَرْغِفَةٍ. One of them has 5 loaves of bread. وَمَعَ الْآخَرِ ثَلَاثَةُ أَرْغِفَةٍ. And the other one has 3 loaves of bread. So effectively they have 8 loaves of bread. They just sit down to eat and a person passes by. So there's obviously, ethical, morally, he greeted, so they said, wa alaikum salam, brother, please join us. So he responded and he sat down. فَأَكَلُوا الْأَرْغِفَةَ الثَّمَانِيَةَ بِالسَّوِيَّةِ. So the 3 of them ate 8 loaves of bread equally, right? So two people were sitting and eating. One had 5 loaves, one had 3 loaves. A person passes by, they greet him, he answers, join us. Okay, he sits down. They eat 8 loaves. They eat it equally. That's the key word, because as I run you through the entire incident, you will have to relate with this word here to understand the whole thing objectively. After eating, he stands up and he takes out 8 dirhams. And he says, listen, they didn't ask him anything. As a kind gesture, they welcomed him, but he just felt morally obliged. And he said, خُذَاهَا عِوَضًا عَمَّا أَكَلْتُ مِنْ طَعَامِكُمَا. Listen folks, you've been very kind, you've been very, gracious. May Allah reward you. I enjoyed the meal. Here's 8 dirhams, please split it amongst the 2 of you, and thank you very much. Very kind of you. I enjoyed the meal. Fine, the man leaves. Now comes the issue. Now comes the greed. Now comes the self-infliction. Now comes the ego. Look at it. Initially they invited him. They had no hope for money, no anticipation for money. Money came in the equation. This is where the problem started. فَقَالَ صَاحِبُ الْخَمْسَ لِي خَمْسَةُ دَرَاهِمْ. The person who had 5 loaves of bread, he said, look here, the man gave us 8. 5 loaves were mine. Logic tells you 5 dirhams will be mine. You had 3 loaves of bread. Logic will tell you 3 dirhams are yours. Story over. No. I will walk you to the cleaners. I will take you through all litigation process. And then what happens? You go through the legal system. I don't know, but legal costs are exorbitant wherever you are. They asked this one lawyer, what are your legal costs? He said, it's $1,000 for 3 questions. The person said, but that's really expensive. He said, yes, that's correct. What's your 3rd question? What are your legal costs? $1,000 for 3 questions. Okay, but that's expensive. Yeah. Go ahead. What's your 3rd question? Whoa. This is sad reality. This is where the human race is heading. What are we doing to ourselves? So the other brother who had 3 loaves of bread, he said, "Takunu baynana munasafah." No. 8 dirhams, you take 4, I take 4. And I'm not going to settle for anything else. He said, brother, I had 5 loaves. Logic, please, hang on. No. Lan akhudha illa haqqi. I will not settle for 1 dirham less. Now, had he accepted this year, take it as a deal, call it a day, take your money and go home, spend time with your family. But now calling this one, phoning that one, instituting this measure, what recourse do I have? What are my rights? What attorneys can I address? And it's just like one whole, vicious circle. So finally they say, okay, let's take the matter to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. And they come to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. Now please, I beg for your undivided attention. This is a very critical thing and it's a very crucial thing. So you need to understand this objectively. So they come to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu and they tell Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu that, listen, 2 of us had 8 loaves of bread. We sat down. We had a gentleman that came. He joined us. He ate with us. He had a share of it and equally we ate the 8 loaves of bread. Thereafter, he gave us 8 dirhams and this is where we are having this contention and this is where we are having this argument. And I feel that I am entitled to 5 dirhams because of my 5 loaves and my brother must have 3 dirhams because of his 3 loaves. But he's insisting that the 8 must be divided equally, 4 for him and 4 for me. Sayyidina Ali, now, you want to know the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. He was an amazing person. Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu looked at the whole thing, he analyzed the situation. He addressed the man who owned 3 loaves. He said, قَدْ عَرَضَ صَاحِبُكَ مَا عَرَض وَخُبْزُهُ أَكْثَرْ مِنْ خُبْزِكَ فَخُذِ الدَّرَاهِمَ الثَّلَاثَ خَيْرٌ لَكَ. Listen, brother, before I pronounce a religious verdict on the matter, before I pronounce an Islamic ruling on the matter, can I make a proposal to you, independent of the ruling? He said, please do. He said, your brother has made a very kind offer to you. He said to you that you must take 3 and he will take 5. I think that's been very accommodating on his part. That's just not been reasonable, that's been super accommodating. Number 1, his bread was more than yours. You had 3, he had 5. And he's telling you take 3. Honestly, settle this matter in present day terminology outside the court. And take your 3 dirhams and go and you'll be a happy man. And this is the verdict of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. But again, this is what I'm saying, it's this greed. Remember my opening comments, what did I say? Life by its nature is challenging. Why do we want to intensify our challenges? Why do we want to bring more misery to ourselves? He said, no. I think you are not being impartial. You are not being neutral. I want my full right. What is entitled to me must be given to me. Okay. If that's what you want, my brother, then brace yourself for something unpleasant. Lan akhudha illa haqqi. So Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu then tells him, and listen to this, he said, you want your right. You're fighting for your due. He said, لَيْسَ لَكَ إِلَّا دِرْهَمٌ وَاحِدٌ وَلِصَاحِبِكَ سَبْعَةُ دَرَاهِمْ. You know what, my brother? If you want to go the legal, legitimate rule way, then I'm sorry to inform you, your brother, your colleague is entitled to 7 dirhams out of the 8, and hello, you only deserve 1. You only deserve 1. So he's like in rage and fury. But arifni kayfa dhalik. I'm trying to make my 3 into 4, you're making it into 1. He says, listen, now look at the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. Just ponder over this. He said, أَلَيْسَ لِلثَّمَانِيَةِ الْأَرْغِفَةِ أَرْبَعَةٌ وَعِشْرُونَ ثُلُثًا. Take 3 loaves of bread. 8 loaves of bread, that's what you told me. It was divided into 3 people equally. Basic maths, if you divide 8 into 3, you won't have an equal number. Double 8 into 16 and divide it into 3, it won't be even. So make it into 24. So assume every loaf was cut up in a third. So we're having 8 loaves cut up into 3 portions. That means 24 portions. 24 pieces divided. There's not a maths lesson here, right? Please. I left school many, many years ago, right? And by the way, I never used to attend lessons when I was in school. 24 pieces of bread, quarters, divided into 3 people. أليس للثمانية الأرغفة 24 ثلثا وإذا قسم على 3 صار لكل واحد 8 أثلاث. So take 24 quarters, right? Divide it into 3 people, because that's what you told me, 8 loaves eaten by 3 people equally. That means every person had 8 quarters in his share, 8 portions in his share. Not quarters, quarter won't be an accurate expression. 8 portions in his share. He said, yeah, of course, right? Perfect. Okay. So now,